my understanding that you're saying that the ANC under President Cyril Ramaphosa is right-wing. And if that is the case, by implication, it would take a kind of austerity stance towards government spending. So your suggestion that you want state-led investment, expansion of public employment, the BIG to be instituted, how is that going to happen if you actually understand that you're actually dealing with a right-wing government? That's the second one. My third one is, have you been invited to attend the ANC's 100 days in the GNU celebrations tomorrow at Luthuli House? Will you be honoring that particular invitation? My last one is, you have spoken about Mr. Tito Mboweni, but how do you see his legacy from a working class and poor people of South Africa perspective in terms of him as the Reserve Bank and the Finance Minister of South Africa?
Thanks. Thabiso Koba from Eyewitness News. Just one question for me. I think it builds on what my colleague has asked about the configuration. You mentioned that you mentioned something about elections. I don't know. I just want a bit of clarity. Are you not ruling out that in part of this mobilization against the GNU that you might also look at contesting elections? Thank you. That's my question.
Thank you, Cheers. And the next number of speakers.
Anyone wants to take first? No, you go. We'll be led by you.
Okay. No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. The several questions. Certainly, about building a popular movement, socialist movement of the workers and the poor. It's a process that we've already begun to do in our communities. In the townships, in villages, we've already begun to do that. Working to respond to the untenable living conditions of the poor, particularly in the field of food security, in the field of agriculture. We have started some extensive work there. And in that regard, we have found some of the exciting members of community, some organized, some in non-organized form, and we are also helping to organize them in that space. So it doesn't necessarily specify which organization we will engage with. I can say, yes, in the context of a general anti-austerity movement, we will work with all forces that will fight neoliberalism, for instance, and budget cuts that are denying our people basic services and even economic development. So in that regard, we don't necessarily rule out what kind of organization in a particular community our comrades will work with. As per the particular members that we have, organization that we have mentioned, we have not had engagements with them. When we were negotiating the possibility of a minority government option, we had felt we could engage with the EFF, and we started the process of engagement in that regard. But as you know, the minority government didn't happen, and we also discussed a wide range of other issues in that regard. But it was in the context of establishing a new government so that we don't have to work with the neoliberal forces of the DA and the Freedom Front. And we also, in that space, by the way, indicated that we also did not want to work with forces of state capture that may be represented by the MK party. So going forward, we'll engage things on the basis of programmatic issues on the ground. The reconfiguration of the alliance, the alliance reconfiguration process has taken too long. And it has led us to this trap where we are as a movement. The arrogance sometimes of certain leaders, particularly in the ANC, who act on our behalf without us. That kind of an approach, our Central Committee was very clear, should no longer be accepted. Of course, in the context of engagements that have taken place, you know that in 2019, the entire Alliance Political Council, that included some of the leadership of the current leadership of the ANC in the top 7, adopted a framework of a reconfigured alliance document, a joint document. But last year, the ANC developed their own document. And taking us back and even expressing things that we did not necessarily say as a Communist Party. For instance, that reconfiguration will liquidate the African National Congress. Completely irrelevant to that particular process. That process seeks to strengthen the capacity of the revolutionary forces headed by the African National Congress. On the 100 days of the GNU celebrations tomorrow, we have rejected the invitation. We will not be going. Albeit it's been laced together with thanking the people who voted for the African National Congress, for which we're in the campaign. It feels sad, but we will not be going as a Communist Party. And therefore, on Comrade Tito Mboweni, we think all our comrades, Tito and other comrades, must be respected for their unwavering fight for national liberation of our country in the struggle against apartheid and against imperialism and against colonialism. Tito was one of those who lost his youth to go and embark on a struggle to fight against the apartheid regime. And of course, when he became Minister of Labor, he led the progressive introduction of labor laws in our country that workers today still enjoy. We appreciate that. And we've been on record as well that when he was Minister of Finance, even when we've had differences with him, but they were comradely, and was one of the most honest comrades. If he didn't agree with something, he tells you on the spot, here I don't agree, and we sit down and debate. That was his nature. And we want to extend our condolences once more to his family and to the entire liberation movement as a whole. The issue regarding that aspect on the participation in the elections, we have never ruled this option out. It has always been there. As you know, in our last augmented central committee last year around April, we took a decision that given the counter-revolutionary threat posed to the national democratic revolution to our movement, the counter-revolutionary threat largely coming from international capital, working with monopoly capital here in South Africa, and which we expressed clearly of the capitalist forces that have funded other parties and created even new parties just so that they can contest the African National Congress. And the IEC political party funding of this year's last third and fourth quarter gives you full indication of who funded who in the political space to actually oppose the liberation movement. To that extent, we took a position that we will still be with the African National Congress in this campaign, the 2024 general elections. That's what happened. But we are still engaging in this process as the Communist Party going forward.
On the question around why do we believe that how do we believe that the left-leaning policies are going to be implemented successfully by the GNU, we want to say categorically clear that we believe that the GNU arrangement has minimized the capacity of the state to be able to implement policy, the left-leaning policies. But well, the ANC believe that it can. So what we're doing ourselves now, we're saying we will have to force the ANC to ensure that it happens as it promises. But we don't believe that the whole limitations, the limitations there are actually hamstringing it from doing so. And that's why we're feeling that the best way that they should have taken a left-leaning position, taking a minority governance, government with some national unity features. That would have assisted them to be free in terms of implementing left-leaning policies that will allow them to move a little bit faster than the 30 years that we've been in. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Do we have follow-ups? In the absence of follow-ups and noting the pressure to file and write, may you allow me to close the session? Agreed, colleagues? Thank you so much.
And to file well.
So there is, I hope.
No, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Siyabona but ake ngirashe man.
All right, sir.
Yeah, ima ngilokhuza ngihlangane nabo abanye izolo.